All right, hey, it's Mike here with Martial Arts Growth, and in this video, I'm going to share with you how to actually create videos that get new students. What's nice about this is you don't need money to make this work. You just need to know what you're doing. I'm going to show you the order in which you create these types of videos and which type of video you create in each step of the order. And then I'm going to talk to you about the stages, how many you need to do, and what really makes this all work. Because the big problem I see is, number one, you're either not creating any videos at all, which is a terrible idea because, well, people watch videos, haven't you noticed? I mean, you're watching one right now. So that's one thing. Number two is, why would you not want to be discovered by the people that want and need you in a way that they can understand how you are important to them and why you matter and why they should come join you? Great thing is just like this video, it runs 24/7, 365 working without me. So that leaves me to go do other things because, as you know, right now, this video is not live. I'm doing something else while you're watching it. So it's doing the job that I need it to do. It's helping you understand why we matter and why this matters. It's a great thing. You can do the same thing too, right? I mean, how many times do you actually touch your students when they're with you? Think about that, okay? Same thing can happen in a video that probably can happen in front of you. Now, I'm not telling you that, we're not talking about teaching on video. We're not talking about any of that stuff, okay? So let's not get onto that subject. I'm talking about, how do you get found? When you get found, you actually matter and cause them to pay attention, and it cuts out the wrong people and keeps the right people. So in the video today, we're going to be talking about these different stages. Now, inside of here, we've got, basically this would be stage 1. Then we've got stage 2, stage 3, and then this right here combined is the 4th stage. So there's basically 4 stages that we're going to discuss and go over to make this make sense. Now, I've got these simply just blacked out here because I don't want you to pay attention to them while we're talking about these other stages here. All right? So let's get in here and first understand like this middle piece, which this funnel just shows you basically the different phases that people go through when they're going to decide to buy something or, do something. So we'll understand that. These videos that we're going to be creating really can go on any platform that takes videos, but really I would just focus on Facebook and YouTube. And if I were to really give you some ideal advice, I'd say just focus on YouTube. Okay? And the reason why is because YouTube is a search engine, Facebook not so much. All right? Now, one thing we have to understand is if you've been on my videos before, which I know you have, then you really have heard me talk about this one primary thing, which is everyone has a current situation, okay? We'll make a sad face because maybe in their current situation, they're not getting what they want or they're not in the desired outcome stage of where they want to be in their life, all right? So in just the same way, then, you would have somebody that has a desired situation as well. Whoops. So this is, let's say they're happy because this thing happened. So people are, in this current situation, just like you, just like me, just like everybody else. And then there's this desired situation, and everybody's trying to get to this ideal, place in the future where their life is the way they want it to be. Okay, at whatever level that may be. It doesn't have to always be, this crazy, magnificent thing. It just a desired outcome in the future that they want. So this is what also causes the economy, because this gap right here is what causes us to matter to people in such a way where they'll give us their hard-earned money and time for what we've created and brought to them as a solution. So the only way to make money is to solve problems. All right? So there's, really no other way. I mean, you could win the money, but what's the likelihood of that? Somebody could give it to you. You could steal it. You could win the lottery. You could maybe find it, I don't know, but none of those are controllable. So if we want new students, aka profit and money, so we can get more students and help more people, you have to solve problems. So here's what you do. You will help people get across this gap. And when they can see that you're the place to provide the answer, they'll keep coming back and they'll keep giving you their value. One of the mission statements of Google, which owns YouTube, is to give people the quickest answer, best answer in the shortest amount of time possible every time they visit the website. So being one of the richest companies in the world, I think it's probably a good indication of why this works is that they're solving problems for people. So that's what makes them really valuable. Okay, so that being understood, let's get back over here. Now, it's most likely that you met the person that you're married to, and if you're not married, let's say your best friend, they became your best friend after you met them, or they became your spouse after you met them, right? Well, here's what a lot of people do. When they go to create a piece of content or basically something that's going to work in terms of advertising or explaining to their potential market why they matter in such a way so that the person gives them their money and time, usually what happens is it looks like this. Hi, my name's Mike. Do you want to have sex with me? So most likely that's not going to work. Let's say I go to a bar and I'm looking for a new date or something like that. If I walk up to the first woman that I see in there and I'm like, hi, my name's Mike, let's have sex, she's probably going to slap me or be like, creep, and walk out, right? But if I see somebody that I deem as a potential, candidate to be my date, I would probably go up there and I would introduce myself and say, hey, can I buy you a drink? And, how did you find this place? And are you from here? And, basically, come into a place where I'm planting seeds of happiness and nice guy and, oh, thanks, and I give and things like that. So it works the same way everywhere else in nature, right? So let's continue to act in accordance to that. So here's the thing. In order to harvest a plant, it first has to grow into something. And in order to grow into something, it has to be planted. So in the first stages here, when we're creating videos, you want to do what we call planting, all right? So we want to plant seeds, okay? And then once those seeds are planted, we got to keep the birds away. We got to keep the things under the ground from messing it up. We've got to make sure it's got what it needs in terms of light and energy and nutrients so that it can grow strong and deliver a great harvest. Okay, so in the second stage here, we're going to be cultivating. And then in the final stages, we're going to be harvesting, or in other words, signing up the students. Yeah? Okay. So that is what we mean by planting, cultivating, and harvesting. But here's the deal. When somebody has no idea who you are, you're known as a stranger to them. So in the cold traffic phase, where we're going out to try to find new students, people that are not our students right now, right? So in order to do that, we have to take complete strangers and turn them into people that are students. So cold traffic, as we refer to it, and you'll hear me talk about it, especially in the course, right? So remember, on this page that you're watching this video, there's a blue button where you can sign up for that course, the Magnetic YouTube Student Generation Machine, where we go into complete depth here on how to actually be amazing on YouTube and use YouTube without spending a dime on advertising to make a lot of money. And this thing here is only available until August 1st. So make sure that after you get done watching this, you go sign up, because there's only like a day or so left, okay? And you get access to our flagship program, the Dojo Student Blueprint. All right, back to you. So here's the deal. This complete strangers part here, if I go up to a complete stranger and I ask them to have sex with me, well, this is not going to end well, usually, right? But a lot of you are out there like doing that. And here's how. You're doing some form of advertising where you're like, hey, come join us. Hey, it's like the moment they hear about you for the first time, you're asking them to give you their money, for God's sakes, or sign up, or, it's kind of crazy. Come try me out in bed, like, seriously? I mean, that's pretty, crazy. So let's not do that. So with cold traffic and complete strangers, what we want to do is plant the seeds that were worth their time in the future. So what we got to do is we've got to create videos that are based on these things right here, which is getting their awareness. Now, imagine you had a crowd of people Let's say there's a rock concert going on, and you go up on stage and you grab the lead singer's mic, and you're like, "Hey, everybody, listen up!" And there's just tens of thousands of people in front of you. All right, and then you're like, "Hey, everybody that likes cherry pie, raise your hand." And everybody that raises their hand, which it wouldn't be everybody, you say, "Hey, all right, all you guys go stand over there in the side over there. I'm going to come talk to you here in just a minute about more of that cherry pie idea." That's what we're doing in the awareness stages. We're taking a large group of people and we're basically segmenting them out by using content. So what I mean is you're going to tell a story and create curiosity and a trigger that is going to get the right person's attention. So let's say that you're working with, maybe you want to help women understand self-defense, or any of the categories that you could jump into, any of the niches that you could get into. Let's say that that's the one we're talking about. So a trigger for them would be like, "Hey, have you ever been in an abusive situation with some guy?" Or I guess it could be a gal too. That might trigger them. Or, "Are you dealing with something where you feel overpowered by somebody?" That could be a trigger thing. And then you could tell a story where, you're like, "I worked with these women before," or "I myself was in that situation, and, I was really just tired of it." And you really tell this short little story that gets them to say, "Hey, that person's like me," or "that person knows me." And then you use curiosity and you say, "Hey, so I can't obviously cover everything right here, in this video, but I did create a free training for you that I want to show you." And that's where you would take them over and you would send them into one of these stages, which would be stage 1 of the funnel. And that's what you do, right? You send them over to stage 1 of the funnel. Okay, so let's come back over here and let's understand that for cold traffic, we want to plant seeds. So this whole section right here is for cold traffic, people that are complete strangers. We want to get their awareness that we can be the person to help them. And we use curiosity tagged along with benefit, which would be in the trigger, that, "Hey, watching this video and going and checking out this training, you're going to get this benefit if you go check it out." But you don't tell them that, or they won't come watch it. They won't engage and move along, okay? So you can do that now in the world because we've got technology that allows us to turn people into people on an audience list. So what you would do is you would take and create 3 cold traffic awareness videos. Length doesn't really matter, but if you're on YouTube, we'll cover this more deeply in the YouTube training course, but on YouTube, you do want to try to be above 7 minutes. On Facebook, not so much of a thought process there, but I would tell you anyway not to worry about length as much as completeness. Okay, you want it to be complete, which again in the course we really go through what that means. So you want to create 3 videos that are different story type videos. If people don't like ads and they don't like to be sold, don't sell them and don't make your ads look like ads. Pretty simple. So I'll basically just leave you to understand that. It's pretty simple. But what you want to do in the awareness stage is, in other words, buy them a drink, right? Go up and introduce yourself without being so like, "Hey, I'm going to sell you something," but be like, "Hey, if you've ever been like in a situation where there was somebody maybe stronger than you or larger than you, and they were roughing you up and you didn't know really what to do in that situation, and you just found yourself like being, harmed or just extremely scared." I understand. Listen, I was there too, or I had, clients or students that were like that. And when I taught them these 3 things to pay attention to, it instantly changed not only for them, but for me too, when I was in that situation. And so, I don't want to waste a bunch of time here, but let me actually show you a free training I put together for you. And so just click this link below and I'll show that to you. So there's like this idea that you can help me with the situation I'm in, my current situation. And it has the desired situation tied to it in the sense that once you understand these things, you'll not be in that current situation. So they understand the benefit. It triggers them. People listen to stories, right? And then the curiosity piece is we didn't tell them what those things were. They had to go get them by going over to our stage 1 of the funnel. Okay, so I'll just put right here, I'll just put our funnel. Okay, and we've covered the funnel in other videos, and forgive my drawing of a funnel here, but yeah. So this is our 4-stage funnel that we talked about in previous videos. All right, so that is what we're going to do in that first part of it. Okay, you would never want to go do that in just one whole video, because it's like if you go on a first date with somebody and they're like, oh, and hey, I've got warts all over my back and like all this. It's like, that's too much information. You're moving too fast here, pal. Like, slow down a little bit, all right? Like, I don't need to know everything about everything here. We're just trying to, kind of get to know each other, but just we don't need to get that deep on it. It's the same thing here. All right? So now here's what we do. Because we had people click on, engage, share, like, comment, or watch our video, what we do is we go over to our platform that we're on and we create an audience, right? So we create these audiences. We can literally designate on both YouTube and Facebook, hey, anybody that engages with these videos, can you put them in this audience? And they'll keep them in there, and I suggest up to 180 days. Usually after 6 months, if people aren't still engaged, they're probably not really wanting what it is that you offer, okay? So we keep them in there that long. Now, here's the great thing about having these audiences, and it's also the great thing about how we collect emails in the funnel, which is once we have them in the audience, and once we have them in these funnels and in the email list, what's powerful about this is it saves you a lot of money, because now you don't have to later go back out to them with ads. You don't have to pay for them again to get in front of your information. You can just hit them with it because they're in the audience or they're in the email list, okay? So we say to them, Facebook or YouTube, we say, hey, anybody that is in this list but not in this list, don't show them this next video, which is, okay, the engagement videos. So now that you've met them, all right, and they know who you are, you're not a complete stranger, this is known as warm traffic, all right? So now what we do is we get them to go through this engagement cycle, which for them, now they're like, oh, well, I didn't know that existed. Let me learn more about it so that I can, really decide if this is what I want to do. So this is where we want to always keep the curiosity, as you'll notice, as this is following along through these two here. Awareness and engagement is really about building up curiosity to get them go do something. And then we want this to be recurring. So this is where we retarget, okay? And in these videos, this is like how-to stuff. So the people that were watching these videos up here, we know that because they're in our audiences and they're in our lists. So when we go out with these next stages of videos where we're cultivating, we're actually going to be focusing more on how-to. So it's like, how is it that these particular things, moves, systems, methods, formulas that we do, these, drills, everything that how is it that they actually help you, do X or, experience X, whatever it is, right? So here's where they're going to be doing some learning about more to make a decision. As we've always talked about, it takes 7 to 10 exposures for people to, usually take action on something. And we can speed up the time that those exposures happen, which is nice. And we can automate everything, which is, again, nice. So in this stage, we want to do how-to videos, or in other words, think about it on your second and third date with somebody. You don't keep saying, hi, my name is Mike. You slowly are warming it up, and they're finding out if you're right for each other. You're discovering things that are a little bit deeper now and more inclusive. And so you can decide really if this is the thing that's going to be, or the person that's going to be in your life, or the thing that's going to be in your life. So this is just only normal. This is really just what happens. And so in these videos, we're doing how-to stuff. We're saying, all right, so, you seen you heard my story about the other day that, how I was in this same situation like you and everything. So what are these things and how do they go? And again, as I've told you in previous videos here during this little YouTube launch thing, if you've been paying attention, if there are, let's say, they're in this situation right here where they're in their current situation and the desired situation, let's say that there are 5 steps to get them there, okay? Well, when we're doing these how-to videos, if you just give them all the answers, well, guess what? They don't need you anymore. You already threw up all your value on them. I don't need to come see you. So don't do that. So you can say, in this video, I want to share with you the X amount of things or whatever it is, any how-to, any myth. There's a lot of myths behind this, or is this true? We have about 15 angles that I give you inside the magnetic YouTube student growth machine that, really just makes it super easy to pick one and go. And there's examples and everything. But in this, you would just say, okay, I'm going to give them these 3 steps. And then I'm going to say, now, if you want to get the rest of the steps, all right, curiosity, go over and check that out. So you would, again, as it shows here, you would lead them back now into this stage here where they can continue to get all the information that we, have you provide in the funnel that causes them to convert into a new student, okay? But in this one, anybody that was in this right here, if they continue through the funnel or they continue through the stages, we tell the machine, listen, if they went to, let's say, step 2 of the funnel here, take them out of this list, okay? And anybody that did engage to step 2, put them in this list. Now, if you want to know these stages, I talk about it inside the course, of course. All right. And, also I've talked about it briefly in some of these other videos. If you want the whole story, obviously you got to get that, right? Just like I told you. We practice what we preach around here. So this is how this works. These are why these audiences are instrumental. Really, to operate without them is kind of like driving a car without one of the wheels, right? It doesn't make sense, and it's not a very good experience. So what we want to do is create videos now where we're sharing with them more about why we matter. We're still using curiosity to get them to behave, and we're using more of a how-to mindset instead of a storytelling, connect with me type mindset. But you're always really kind of doing that, but it's more intensified in each stage here, and that's just how that really works. And we really go into deep examples of that. Now, in the harvest stage or in the conversion stage, this is people that, they've been on several dates with you. It's like, are we going to get in the sack and do this thing and make a baby or not kind of deal, right? So, if you've been dating somebody for, 6 months to a year and you still haven't, made love to them or something like that, I don't know. I mean, whatever, it's up to you. But like usually that's an indication that probably they don't want to, okay? Usually it should be like something you can't stop. And that's what happens here, right? So in the conversion stage, you'll notice a recurring theme, which is recurring. So here we're retargeting them again, and we have warm retargeting and we have hot retargeting. So we speak to them differently. Somebody that you've been on a date with one time, you would communicate with differently than you would somebody you've been on a date, say, 10 times, right? And especially somebody that you've had sex with, you would extremely talk to them differently than you would somebody that you haven't had sex with, okay? Which means over here in the cold, warm, and hot stages, when you retarget in the hot traffic, you want to be more direct and you want to use scarcity, right? So this doesn't last very long. You always want to have some element of scarcity built into your offers and built into what you're doing, because if you don't really give them any reason to, other than the main reason they should. But there's a lot of people vying for that information, or that attention, and there's also just places where we'll always find a reason why it's not a good time, okay? But when we only have a certain amount of time, or when we know it can be something lost and never gotten again, it changes the game and the paradigm, and people move, okay? So in the conversion stage, we want to install some scarcity, and there's no beating around the bush here, all right? I've seen your stuff, you've seen mine, you know what the deal is. Just make it happen, book the call, let's get you signed up, come on now, let's go, all right? So in saying that, what we do now is when we retarget them with our videos, again, these are short videos. I'm explaining to you that this is how to, this is direct, and this is story. And we've got different angles that we provide you with inside the training that you can use. You can join right now for a stupid $297 one time, and you get forever access to it, and it constantly updates. But in the warm traffic, you've met them before, been on dates. They go into these audiences. On hot traffic, same thing. They go in these audiences. But in hot traffic, They've already seen the deal. They've already watched the video. They've already probably even scheduled with you, but they didn't sign up for whatever reason. This is where we're then taking hot traffic and we're driving them into stage 2 of our 4-part funnel, okay? So stage 2 is bypassing the things that they've already done, and it saves you money, and it doesn't make sense to send them back to those other stages because you've already had that communication with them. This is the huge breakdown that I see in martial arts especially. It happens in all businesses really, but this is the problem. You're talking about having sex before you've even met them. You're trying to get them to do things and they don't trust you and they don't even know you. And we're not using this communication, and it's really stupid for a couple reasons. You're not stupid. It's just stupid that it's not being done correctly when it's not really that hard once you figure it out, okay? And to figure it out, I mean, hell, you're pretty much there right now. If you can't figure this out, like, I don't know, like, how does this not make sense to you? Please put that down in the comments or, reply back and let me know. So here's the deal. What we're doing is just nature stuff. We're planting, we're cultivating, we're harvesting. We're going from complete strangers, we're introducing ourselves, and we're jumping in the boat with them and showing how we are relevant to them, how we relate to them, and how we have a solution for them. And we don't even have to talk about it like, oh, I know your problem. Let's have it. We already know the person because we studied our ideal audience. We know who our ideal student is, why they do what they do, how they behave, why they're behaving that way, and all the problems they have. So when we go out there with our videos, we're just laying those pieces and parts in there. We're saying those trigger words and those keyword phrases that they would go, oh, wait, that's me, because we know who they are already. So it's like a magnet, right? They're like, they have to listen because that is interiorly, deep down inside, what they're looking for, right? When they go to YouTube and Facebook, a lot of the times they're maybe not looking directly for you. They're just doing something else, and here they stumble upon you. But because you know them and you know your audience, when you use the triggers or the stimulus or the nerve-striking phrases that you should know because you used our magnetic YouTube student generation machine sheet to actually figure those out and find those, when you say them, it triggers them. It's kind of like this. If you were walking by me and you had no idea who I was, you've never seen me before, and I was just talking to somebody else, and I'm like, and that's exactly how I can guarantee you 50 brand new students that pay full ticket the first time you talk to them into your school. You would be like, what'd you say? Or I was talking to somebody and I'm like, if you're looking for more martial arts students, the moment you heard that, you'd be, okay? And so that is, or you walked by and I was like, and that's why you don't have to do marketing every day to get more martial arts students. And it's guaranteed, it's predictable. You would be like, whoa, what did you say? If you owned a school, right? It's how you got here. It's why you're watching this right now. So why is that, different for you, right? It would be the same if you understood your client, and this is why that's so necessary. But if you're just creating videos just to create videos because you think you know what they need to hear, not good, right? I know that, well, it's quite obvious that martial arts business owners have no idea how to really create videos. Not that you can't create amazing ones and that you're not going to be really good at it, but you just need to know the order, right? Just like I said in the description and the email, the message and everything, where I said, hey, you could have all the right numbers, but if you put them in the wrong order in the combination lock, it don't matter. It ain't going to open. And so that's what's happening here. You might be doing the right thing in the wrong order. You might be a handsome looking person or a beautiful looking person, right? But if you're going up to the stranger and being like, hey, my name's, Mike, take your clothes off, probably not having too good a success. So, and if you are, I'd be wary of that because, yeah. Okay, so here's the deal. What you want to do is remember that you need to be using audiences so that you're not repeating yourself, or in other words, wasting time doing the same thing over and over and over again, number one. Number two is pay attention to el nature, right? Planting, cultivating, harvest. You cannot harvest a plant that hasn't grown. You can't grow a plant that hasn't been seeded. I'm pretty sure life works the same way. And then what you want to realize is you need to communicate differently based on where they're at. You need to always be adding elements of curiosity, right? Like, hey, there's $1 million behind one of these doors. Do you want to try one? Right? It's like, yeah, So there was benefit, but you're curious which one it is. Okay, this gets you to act. This gets you to move. So be sure to do that. And then in the recurring stages here, you want to use retargeting so that you stay in front of them consistently all the time so that you're the thing in their mind all the time. And if you've done your job prior to that, you would have them hooked and ready anyway. And it's just a matter of time where they go, you know what? We've been on dates and stuff, and we've been together for a while here. I really like you. I think we should take it further and get more serious. And that's exactly what happens with complete strangers turning into students. And what else is beautiful is when you create these videos, they're always out there on dates with people forever, right? So that's cool. And when you get the money coming in from those things, you can really ramp it up and scale it with paid ads, which is what you want to do. You want to have a heavy combination of paid plus organic exposures happening, and you want to drive that into a system that can turn that profit from your organic or that paid money in your advertising into profit. The whole goal here is to turn advertising into profit. You can advertise organically or paid. Either way, your time or your money needs to come back to you tenfold, okay? And that's how we do it. And systems work without us. Automation makes that happen. So we have more time to hang out with our spouse and go on dates, go on vacation while our school grows, and it can live on without us because it doesn't need us, okay? So anyway, I hope you found a lot of value here. I hope you see how to think about this, entire process and formula. And really the best thing that you can do right now is find the blue button on this page where you're watching this video, or if for whatever reason you might be watching this video later after the fact that the promotion's over, you'd want to go down and find the link where you can get involved with our business so that we can help you save time and money, generate more students by actually doing less using our automated inbound student generation machine, which it works. It's why you're here. It's why you're watching this. It's why this works. And it's why we're running a 7-figure business for many years now and helping hundreds of martial arts business owners do the same. So I'm excited for you. I appreciate you so much for watching this. I hope the dates that we've been on, or if you're brand new to me, well, I hope you enjoyed the value here. But more than anything, I just want you to know that I believe in you. You can do this. I can't wait to work with you, and I'll see you in some more videos. All right. Talk to you later.